So welcome to the IBM Ielts Academy, and this is the speaking section of the Ielts exam. And it may take approximately 15 minutes, maybe a little less or more, and it consists of 3 parts. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and then you get to speak, and then we do some longer questions after that. Okay. So first of all, can I have your ID, please?
Yes, sure.
Thank you very much. And what's your full name?
Antonio Figuera.
Okay, I think we should write that. That's right. And your ID, let me see. Good. And where are you from, actually?
I'm from Bologna, Italy.
And do you have an ID number, a student ID number for your
yes.
IELTS exam?
Yes, it was 278 A36.
Good, thank you very much. Do you work or study?
Actually, both of them. And currently, I studied in University of Bologna, and also work as a website designer.
Oh, good. That sounds interesting. And how important then is the internet to you?
Internet is so very much important because nowadays, specifically because of the pandemic, all of our lives, it depends on internet actually, and specifically specifically works, every jobs needs the access of the internet, and it is important for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And so, do you use the internet a lot for your work or free time?
Firstly for my work, because I think approximately 14 or 15 hours a day I use it for my work. But because I'm studying in filmmaking, also I use it in my free time, about 3 or 4 hours a day.
Thank you. Do you think that perhaps you use the internet too much?
Might be. Some people tell me that, but as far as I know, nowadays everybody, I think, as I know, spend your time at least 6 or 7 hours a day on internet. It doesn't matter where and when you use it, or by mobile phone or by computer, but you use it in this way.
How will the internet change, do you think, life in the future?
Life in the future, I think everything in our lives will be on internet and depends on internet in future, and I think we can't live actually. We will can't live in the future without internet.
Are there any negative things about the internet?
It completely depends on the situation and the person. For example, many parents feel worried about their children because they spend too much time on internet. But I think it might be solved by educating people properly, not just don't telling them how to use the internet. Knowing the best way of using internet might be the case.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Do you think that the internet should be have some rules and regulations to protect children, for example?
Yes, absolutely. I agree with this claim. It is because as everybody knows, internet may have some negative impacts on our lives because the content that exists on internet, and I think it might be in certain way restricted for specifically children as well.
Do you think that one of the problems is that the internet is almost owned by some people, or at least a lot of social media, whereas if it was more even, then you would get more of a balance of good and bad?
Yes, completely agree with you, because it's kind of a dream actually when we are talking about future, and the right thing and the bad thing, or because nothing in this world is black and white. We always have the gray in between. And I think we should consider both sides, and we should kind of discuss this based on their effects and their causes, not just some hypotheses, things we're just talking about.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now we're going to the second part. We'll move on, and this is your cue card here.
Thanks. Can I have a pen?
Yes, you can. I'll give you a minute. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
About the most important decision, actually, I recently decided to apply for a master degree in Spain, and it is in the field of Spain. The master name Spain Studies. It's completely related to the culture of this Spanish, and also about the literature and the politics of the European countries. And the reason is that the reason was that I wanted to study as a filmmaker, but because I had the irrelevant bachelor's degree, I couldn't kind of manage these gaps, this gap between these two different fields. So I decided to apply for this specific master degree to kind of complete my gap, full my gaps between. And another thing that actually I was comparing the cons and pros for studying in Spanish in Spain, and I think it might kind of be a very good opportunity for me to specifically getting know the culture of the Spain and Spanish people, and also getting know other countries, because you are free to travel around the world, around the specific Europe. And the one of the best and positive points of this specific master is the second year of this study will be held in French, and it is very good to improve my French as well. And about the person.
Okay, thank you very much. That's good, thank you. We'll go on to the third section now. Why is it difficult for some people to make decisions?
As far as I know, I actually read it in some magazine that was telling that most people it's kind of a disease, I think, and most people struggling with the specific disease to making decision. Many people can't easily decide which way is better to go, and it's kind of annoying them continuously in their lives. I think it might be a good reason to kind of explain this situation that some people facing.
Thank you. How important is it to seek advice from other people when making decisions?
I believe that generally it is the first step to make any decision in any field of our lives, because seeking advice from specifically older people, it's definitely help us to know clearly the way that is ahead of us, and it will help us to kind of see the way more clearly, and kind of try to not putting ourselves in a situation to face with difficulties, I think.
And why is it sometimes difficult to get advice?
Can you ask it again?
Why is it difficult sometimes to get advice?
I think because some people don't want to show their weakness. Because some people think that asking advice might be a kind of weakness, and they kind of try to not showing their weakness to any person, specifically their families, because that might their family might kind of tell them that they are the point exactly on their weakness as well, and it is not very good. Good kind of work, good action to do with our children.
What are the most important decisions young people have to make?
Specifically in young people, I reckon that it might be choosing a right field of study, firstly in a bachelor's degree, and after that specifically for master to continue their job, their study, or just go and seek jobs for their future and think about their future, or just postpone this decision, this important decision about 2 or 3 years ahead.
And do you agree that guardians should make important decisions for their children?
It's a very hard question actually, but in some point it might be a good idea, but not at all the time. It must be. It should be in some specific situation, for some specific fields of children's life, because we have to kind of give children their a kind of a free atmosphere to experience free choice, and to experience that they are able to choose what they want, but we should just continuously observe them to not making very bad decisions.
Is it better to make decisions based on what you want or on what other people want?
Obviously, it's better to choose what we want, because people around us there are a range of different type of people that exist and living with us, and it's not a good idea to continuously pay attention to what they want, because they just want something for their lives, not for our lives. And after for example, we made any decision based on their desires, and we faced with some difficulties, nobody is there to help us, and they just tell you it was your decision, wasn't our decision.
Yes, thank you very much. That was a very good
Thank you.
Ielts, and it's the end of the examination.
Thanks.
And I'm going to give you some feedback. Okay, so actually you're very good. You've got plenty to say clearly, and you can say it and get your meaning across, and that's very good. There are very small things, like a little bit, which a lot of people make this error in using much instead of more.
Mm-hmm.
And a few times I think it was being hesitant to use vocabulary, which I think you know, which was about hypothesize,
Yes.
but you just said hypothe and just sort of left it. And a couple of words like that, really because you weren't 100% sure. But otherwise your hesitancy was okay, it was good. You had things to say. You used a lot of and, but. You could use other connectors more, because clearly you can speak very well, and you could just lift those up, use a higher level of connectors perhaps at times, just to be different. First of all, again, many people do make this mistake. Instead of the country, they want to say the language, the culture. So you introduce the country by the name Spain, France. But when you're talking about the culture, the food, you say Spanish or French. And when to use those, that's quite important. I think it's good to practice them a little. And you wanted to use pros and cons, but I'm afraid you said cons and pros instead of pros first. Always we use the positive first, so the advantages and disadvantages, the pros and cons. And in the third part, I really liked the use of kind of, because it sounds very natural and fluent. However, you did use it rather a lot instead of using another word instead of that, or another expression. So overall, though, I thought you were very fluent and you had lots to say. So I would give you a good 7.5. I think if you made a bit more complex links, you would lift yourself up to an 8, and no hesitancy, just say it. As you've already said it, finish it.
Right.
You stopped once or twice. That's all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so for example, the one student, he actually got a very good grade. He got 7.5 because he had a lot to say, he had a lot of vocabulary, and he did use good linkage words. But often, instead, he would use make instead of makes, or use the reverse at another time and not use the correct form when he's speaking, and that would let him down. He would self-correct, that's okay, he would notice it. He used actually really good vocabulary which was relevant to the subject, and that's what gave him a much higher grade. But it wasn't a huge word, it was just relevant vocabulary, because it's an area he was familiar with and he'd obviously read a lot about it. The other thing that I thought was very good is that he used complex sentences with ease. He could go from one thing and then explain a little bit more, use a linkage word. Actually, this is going to happen. Thank you for your attention. See you again in another video.